It's another Thursday and another great show in store for you. This is Jamaica Magazine and I am Adrian Atkinson. Today's show looks at giving back through voluntary service. We'll also guide you to access legal counsel and help you understand the workings of traffic signals. But before we get into that, here's a quote for today from Quotesgrams. Time. We never have as much as we would like, but we always have more than we realize. Very true, if we really think about it. Stay tuned.
The travel file application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel file application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, March 17, 2022. Jamaica has re-engaged its multilateral partners through the United Nations on strategies to attain the Sustainable Development Goals under Vision 2030. This was confirmed with Tuesday's signing of the 2022-2026 Multi-Country Sustainable Development Convention Framework, MSDCF, which was crafted with Jamaicans from various sectors. It represents the second such partnership and will also assist with recovery efforts from the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the magnitude of the COVID-19 impact on the country exposed gaps such as the lack of or inadequate access to essential services and technology, particularly in rural communities.
These realities, however, Excellencies, set the stage for the importance of mechanisms such as the MSDCF that are intended to support countries in our efforts to achieve economic growth and sustainable development.
The minister says the framework will address economic resilience and shared prosperity, equality and well-being, resilience to climate change shocks, and sustainable resource management, peace, safety, and the rule of law. UN's resident coordinator, Dr. Gary Connell, says the framework was aligned with Jamaica's ambitions and priorities.
The partnership framework we are signing today is bolstered by Jamaica's continued commitment to multilateralism and its global leadership.
One of 18 Jamaican students known to be studying in Russia has now left that country out of fear of being impacted by the ongoing crisis in Ukraine. Director of the Consular Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Ariel Bowen, made the disclosure yesterday. She was providing an update on the crisis during a JIS think tank. Mrs. Bowen says the ministry was able to secure assistance for the student following a special request. For the other students in the country, she says the ministry has provided guidance and information on non-visa required countries and routes that they can use if they decide to leave Russia.
Others, we remain in touch with them, and as Mr. Hall said, we have offered that level of support to them, and offered ourselves in terms of any help that they perceive that they may need from us.
More than 25 Jamaicans fled Ukraine recently following Russia's military invasion of the country. Undersecretary of the Diaspora, Protocol and Consular Affairs Division, France Hall, says the ministry is not aware of Jamaicans who may still be in Ukraine.
Jamaicans who are known to the ministry through our embassy in Berlin, which has responsibility for Ukraine. All Jamaicans are out and thankfully safe.
Meanwhile, Jamaicans are being encouraged to research the countries that they are planning to visit before leaving the island. Director of the Consular Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Ariel Bowen, says this is necessary to avoid situations of political upheaval.
Understand the culture of where you're going, especially if you're going to go there long term, beyond a normal vacation, but even for a vacation. Take the time to do a bit of reading, find out about the location, what may be happening there at the location. There may be things going on, politically, upheavals.
Mrs. Bowen is also advising persons traveling overseas to register their names and contact information at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade via the ministry's website, mfaft.gov.jm. Persons can also email their information to consular@mfaft.gov.jm. The information should include the intended departure from the foreign country. Citizens are also urged to have the contact details of the Jamaican honorary consuls or embassies in the countries that they are visiting. The Universal Service Fund, USF, has given the Jamaica Fire Brigade 20 laptop computers to enhance the services offered by its training division. The devices, which are valued at $2.1 million, were presented on Wednesday. They are expected to help the brigade with its recruitment drive, boost in-service training, and support fire prevention education initiatives. It marks the third such contribution by the USF to the Jamaica Fire Brigade. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has oversight of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and Permanent Secretary Marcia Henry Martin says every effort will be made to ensure the equipment are maintained and used for their intended purposes. The USF is an agency of the Technology Ministry, and Minister Daryl Vaz says this assistance to the first responders is in keeping with data showing that the demand for the services of the Fire Brigade has increased in recent times, making consistent training for personnel, quality equipment, and resources integral to their capacity to respond. Parents are being advised to look out for symptoms of multi-inflammatory system syndrome in children who have recovered from COVID-19. Medical Officer of Health for Westmoreland, Dr. Marcia Graham, says children who have had COVID-19, whether they were symptomatic or asymptomatic, may be susceptible to the illness. She was addressing the monthly meeting of the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation held in Savannah, Lamar recently. Multi-inflammatory system syndrome in children, MIS-C, is a condition where different body parts can become inflamed, including the heart, lungs, kidney, brain, skin, eyes, or gastrointestinal organs. The condition can be serious, but most children who are diagnosed have recovered with medical care. Dr. Graham says the syndrome presents with a fever. So if children have a fever for more than a day, 2 to 4 weeks after getting COVID, they are to seek medical care. Other symptoms include vomiting and diarrhea. The Medical Officer of Health for Westmoreland says there have been more than 10 cases of MIS-C in the parish. While all the patients have recovered, she stresses that it is still necessary these children be brought in to get the necessary medical monitoring and care. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
A whole way of celebrating it. They say the people them in them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal, panta fight, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them, you know.
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre. Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
Yeah. I don't know the app to get the updates then.
Being a justice of the peace is a voluntary act and requires commitment to upholding the law and achieving justice. Let's find out what it takes to become one of these peacekeepers.
When you offer your service across Jamaica, it is absolutely important for you to be fair-minded. Ensure that fair play at all times is displayed. A person dispensing justice ensuring that peace is maintained across Jamaica, to assist in solving the many, many problems that we are encountering in Jamaica.
We see them all over the country. We know their names. We employ their services for signing important documents, among other things. But do we know the extent of their functions, or how one even becomes a justice of the peace? Come, watch as we open the gates to the historical peacekeepers of our nation.
I'm appointed through the Ministry of Justice, and as a JP, you have to be very, very confidential. So people can come to you and they can confide in you with whatever, and you can be that person that they can talk to. You have to be a person of integrity, a person who is an unquestionable background.
You're joining a vocation that has been in existence and started from the 12th century. From 1195, the king, known as King the Lion-Hearted, said to the knights, we need distinguished persons to operate in boroughs, communities, right across England. So find some persons who can keep the peace. From 1195, over 800 years ago, persons who were appointed were known as keepers of the peace. It was only in the 14th century that the term justice of the peace became the JP that you are now.
Ministry of Justice call us peacekeeper, and people do call us peacekeeper because we do keep the peace. Some of our duties that I perform, I witness documents for people, I do recommendations for some of the youths who want a job. I also do recommendations for persons who want to be surety to bail another person. So there are multiple things that I do as a justice of the peace.
The role of a JP is a voluntary one. So these officers are not to accept cash or any form of reward for the work done in their capacity as JPs.
It's something that you will do out of your heart. You have to do it as a person. You have to do it as a Jamaican. You have to love your country. And I believe that we have to stop asking the question what our country can do for us and to want to help to change our country, to change the justice system.
From there, the steps to become a justice of the peace are fairly simple. You must be a Jamaican citizen residing in the country during the time of appointment. You must be able to read and speak English fluently. You must be able to communicate and interact at all levels with all types of people. You must be a person of undeniable integrity who commands the respect of the local community. And you must be a person who has offered voluntary service to the community and the country by extension, while indicating the potential for continued service. But always remember, as a JP, you're offering a very valuable service to your country.
It's a fulfilling job, but it's also a tiring one. So I want to say to fellow justice of the peace out there, please, do it for the love. As what they say, do it for the love, not for the likes. You understand me? Make sure you're doing your job correctly. You signed up for a position to help people, help people.
I really hope that those who are listening to my voice will take an introspection of themselves and check out how they have been operating the motorcycle. Are you operating with a helmet, an elbow pad, a knee pad, a jacket, a shoulder pad? Are you wearing shoes instead of slippers? Have you removed the mirrors from the motorcycles? Obedience better than sacrifice. Do the right thing. Are you going to ensure that you buckle up in the motor vehicle and the persons in the motor vehicle behind your back, your passengers, are they buckled up? Are you going to ensure that? Are you going to give yourself adequate time to reach your destination so that you don't have to be in any haste, so that you don't help to clog up the health sector? Nobody should be going to the hospitals because of traffic crashes. Nobody. They are preventable, they are avoidable. We can make better choice than that.
Did you know that if you find yourself in trouble with the law or are being accused of a matter contrary to the law, you have the right to legal representation? This service can be accessed for free through the Legal Aid Council. Take a look at some of the simple procedures to follow.
Yo. Alright, yo, may I make a call?
Hello?
Yeah, Jen, auntie, just get a call from the station here. Them lock up Johnny.
Lord have mercy. So what them have him there for?
Some gun business in a taxi and them something.
Out of trouble. Business not even a one too right. Oh God.
No man, enough affordable money now. You can go to a legal aid council, them have a list of lawyer where well them provide it free.
Alright, me love.
Yeah man, just go down there and talk to somebody.
We will meet you there in a little while.
Johnny's case is one of some 3,000 for which the Legal Aid Council makes duty counsel representation each year. The Duty Counsel service provides for free legal representation from a lawyer at the police station for persons arrested, detained, or remanded. The assigned counsel will visit the person in need and provide help at the various stages: the lockup, identification parade, interrogation, and apply for station bail or bail by the court. Lockup visits and bail application are free of cost and require no application form. Everyone has the right to justice through the country's justice system, even if they cannot afford the cost for legal services. The Legal Aid Council has been ensuring this restricted access to justice, and lawyers assigned complete hundreds of some 1,500 court cases annually, benefiting hundreds of children and adults. Legal aid is the system that provides legal representation for Jamaicans who can ill afford to pay for this service whenever they come in conflict with the law, thus ensuring access to justice for all persons without financial barriers. The organization established to support these services is the Legal Aid Council. The Legal Aid Council, a statutory body within the Ministry of Justice, governs the legal aid system. For court representation, the Legal Aid Council or the court office completes an application form on behalf of the client and assigns a lawyer to represent the client until the end of the matter. All attorneys assigned court matters are private attorneys required to vigorously defend the right of the client, take full instructions from the client, advise the client, and ensure the best outcome on behalf of the client. Cases involving murder matters only require assigned attorneys to have 10 years' experience or more. Where a defendant requires DNA, handwriting, or other specialized expertise to advance their case, the Legal Aid Council will undertake the cost for a client unable to afford these professional services. While the Legal Aid Council provides full representation in court for clients with criminal matters, the Council only provides consultations on civil matters before determining whether the individual can afford legal representation. Thereafter, the Council provides an attorney to assist with a court matter. The Duty Counsel representation from the point of arrest to the first court appearance is free and it does not require the completion of an application form.
There are two main ways to access legal aid for criminal matters. One is the Duty Counsel stage. This is where a person has been taken into police custody and you're entitled to a lawyer. No application to fill out, no contribution fee to make from the moment you are taken into custody until your first court date. That is Duty Counsel. The officer has a duty to call Duty Counsel. Every station should have a list of the Duty Counsel available. If they don't, contact the Legal Aid Council for an up-to-date list. If it's a family member that comes to the Legal Aid Council or the clinics, if the person is in custody, not charged, no application form, no fees. The counselor or the clinic makes a call wherever the person is to an attorney who has his office near to that location and assigns the attorney. the attorney at the end of the matter sends in a claim to us. So the client makes no payment to the attorney.
Good morning. Thank you for calling the law firm of Stone and Brighton. How may I help you?
So the duty counsel is mandated to ensure that all the rights set out in the law for question and answer are observed for you as a citizen. All the rights and protection surrounding ID parades are maintained. Additionally, if the lawyer observes a child, any person under 18 being held at an adult lockup, that lawyer must make an application for the child to be removed to a juvenile facility. So that's the duty counsel stage. For the court aspects, if the judge observes that the person is without a lawyer, the judge will invite the clerk or assistant clerk to interview the person and grant legal aid. So the citizen is protected at every stage. At the duty counsel stage, some people would have been released after the ID parade, released after the question and answer. But for those who have been charged, you're entitled now to a lawyer to represent you during the trial. For that, there's an application form that the court would fill out, or the legal aid counsel or a clinic would fill out. And you may be asked to make a contribution. But the person who is not able to make any contribution will be granted help.
We stop at the appropriate signal, slow down to avoid danger, and move along when the time is right. But how does it coordinate so well to allow safe movement? The Traffic Signal Control Room has the answer.
Traffic signal, as we refer to it as, it's a system of electronic controls that we use to assist in managing traffic at particular locations along our corridors. In managing the flow, there's a system. We have mast arms. We have the signal heads. Signal heads are what you'll see, the lights, whether green, amber, or red. We have wires that are connected to a control box. The control box has a number of components that assist us in managing the flows through the intersection or junction. Now, before we actually signalize an intersection or junction, we do traffic counts. So we know where it is the bulk of the vehicles are coming from or they're heading to. You want to have that information so that in setting the timings, in rehearsing the timings for persons to go through, you know what amount of green time you're going to be giving to a particular phase of the intersection as opposed to another. Our traffic signals, the systems are on a fiber optic network that is actually right across the country. So we have a combination of fiber and microwave links that we're using to roll out what we call a public safety network. And the systems that we have been incorporating our camera systems with these. And so we're able to monitor traffic through our traffic management center that we have at the corporate office 140 Maxfield Avenue. And it gives us the ability to change the timings that we have at these locations remotely. In other words, we don't have to have our officers physically going to the location, changing the timings.
In the Traffic Management Center, we have something called QuickNet. So in present day right now, this is what we use to remotely manage all traffic lights. What you're seeing on the screen now is a virtual display of what is in the cabinet at the intersection via our traffic camera. At the first display, you can see this is our Model 170 controller. This is what we use as a standard in Kingston. So right now you can see all the visual displays. This is what exactly you see in a traffic cabinet. Beside it, you see a graphical representation of what is happening at the stoplight. So at the cameras, you can see two through movements and a turning movement, moving from green to amber to red. And now you can see the turning movement start. So you can see two turning movements and a left turning movement happening right now, as well as a forward turning movement at the next part of the intersection. So the graphic can show you the plan, the status, the cycle length, offset values, traffic statistics. So using this, you can see if the stoplight is working efficiently or not. So this will tell us if the stoplight is down, off, in any problem, whatever. So before people have to call and report a stoplight is down, with this system, when everything is integrated, you won't have to. You automatically know. What you're seeing now on the screen is a viewing of Halfway Tree area, the Kingston metropolitan area, where we can now monitor traffic remotely. So before, to put up a traffic light, somebody would have to go months prior and record the traffic data to put up a signal. Now we can have somebody here remotely counting traffic, as well as several different other specialized cameras to count the traffic for us. So specifically, we can look at specific intersections, say for this one example. If we see the traffic is building up, we can allot more time to a specific intersection to allow the through traffic to flow.
We have well over 100 locations across the country where we have signals, and the number continues to grow because every year we look at new locations to signalize. The demand is quite high, and the demand grows with the numbers of vehicles that we are seeing on our roads.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow and we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, though, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JISnews. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.